What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another fantasy football video. This is one that a lot of you did request. It's a top 5 late round Flyers that I'm targeting in all of my drafts. And there's actually 6 in this list because I gave an honorable mention to Sammy Coates because I honestly don't know. We're going to see a lot in the preseason, how that kind of turns out. I think that he should take over Wheaton as the number 2 just because he fits the role that Martavis played last season. Obviously, Martavis Bryant out for the year, being suspended. He's going right now wide receiver 60. That's 140th overall, so somewhere around like the 13th round is where you can get him. I have him as wide receiver 45. 6'1", 4.43 40 time. That's an 89th percentile adjusted speed score, 99th percentile Spark X score, which is your speed, your quickness, your agility, all those combined. 97th percentile catch radius. The guy is big and fast. He's most comparable to Tory Smith on Player Profiler. I mean, he would fill the Martavis Bryant role, and that's obviously what they need to fill. And honestly, Marcus Wheaton's not that good. In every single situation that Marcus Wheaton has had to succeed in that offense, he's failed. He's had that one good game where he had like 200 and a touchdown against the Seahawks last year. Everyone looks at that game, but every other game he hasn't done good. The only thing is I'm not completely sold on his tape. He doesn't seem to high point the ball. I don't know. He doesn't seem like that skilled of a wide receiver, whereas when you watch tape of Devonte Booker, of Kevin White, of Corey Coleman, they all stand out to you as elite wide receivers, and Sammy just doesn't. So good pick late, but didn't make the top 5. Now we go into the top 5, and Tory Smith's number 5 actually. Number 1's going to be the biggest guy I'm targeting. 5 is, 5th. So Tory Smith, wide receiver 43, 115th overall. My rank is wide receiver 35. And basically that's just because of the volume I think he's going to receive compared to the volume he's received over his career. And when he played for the Ravens, he didn't have week to week that huge volume share. He was that big play guy, that home run. He had those huge weeks. I think the volume's going to be there more than any other point in his career. He's fighting for targets with Bruce Ellington and Quentin Payton. Like, these guys are scrubs. The 49ers are horrible on defense, so they're going to be throwing a lot. They're going to be down a lot. They're going to have to take those shots. They're going to have to throw to him. Remember, he's only 27 years old. It's not like he's super old. It's not like he's 30, 31, 32. He's 27. He's in the prime of his career. He had a 4.4 340. He's fast. 95th percentile catch rate. His 95th percentile Spark X score. 92nd percentile burst score. He's an established deep threat, and he's basically the only person to have to throw to. So I don't see a situation that he doesn't at least provide you the value that you're giving up on draft day. I think he'll outperform that value, but he would at least perform to what you're getting him at. Next guy, Devonte Booker, and he's going right now as running back 48, which is 139th overall. My rank is 42nd, so I don't have him a ton higher, but I like to target him because I don't think C.J. Anderson's that good. He should open as the number 2. Ronnie Hillman may not even make the roster potentially, but if he does, he's going to be beat. Devonte Booker is going to beat out Ronnie Hillman. He had an 87th percentile college dominant rating. So he's been good before. Again, I said Anderson is not that great. The Broncos are probably going to want to run the ball more. They don't exactly have an elite quarterback. And he knows their pass block. And that's a big thing with rookie running backs is if they don't know how to pass block, they oftentimes don't see the field as much. So he does have pass blocking abilities. He does have an ability to pass catch. On playerprofile.com, he is most comparable to LaShawn McCoy. So he's a shifty guy. He's probably the most talented back on that team. And if you're looking late in the draft at guys that have upside, he's got upside because he could be the number 1 by the end of the year. Next is Corey Coleman. And I had to shrink the screen for all the things I want to talk about with Corey Coleman. I mean, everyone knows that he is an athletic freak. Okay, everyone knows that. 88th percentile 40 time, 4.42, 94th percentile burst score, 92nd percentile catch radius, 97th percentile Spark X score, 87th percentile college dominant rating. And to round all that off, he's most comparable to Odell Beckham Jr. on playerprofiler.com. The only reason that he is going as wide receiver 47, and I have him at wide receiver 33, is because of Josh Gordon. But just think about it. He will be the starting X receiver and the number 1 focal point of that offense for the first 4 weeks. First 4 weeks, they play the Eagles, the Ravens, the Dolphins, the Redskins. Do any of those scare you? You might be looking at the Redskins and saying, well, they have Josh Norman. Okay, but to be honest, do we think the Browns are going to be winning any of those games? And I'm not talking like maybe they're up by 3 at some point, but do we think that they're going to be up and running the ball late? No. They're probably going to have to throw the ball late. They're going to throw screens to him. They're going to throw deep to him. He's going to be the focal point on every single play for those first 4 weeks. And then, when Gordon comes back, do we really know if he's going to be that good? I mean, he hasn't played since 2014, and he only played 5 games in that year. He missed all of last year from suspension. His body is not in shape to begin with. Plus, he's already dealing with a pulled quad, so that's not going to allow him to be training at all. I mean, he'll be training a little bit, but he won't be able to get into shape with a pulled quad. He's going to have to take it slow. He can practice now, but once week 1 hits, he can't practice with the team. So how is he supposed to get on the same page as RG3? I mean, you can be a great receiver, but if you're not on the same page as a quarterback on timing routes, your quarterback doesn't have trust in you. So for those first 4 weeks, he's going to be building trust with Corey Coleman. I think Corey Coleman is obviously more of the future than Josh Gordon is. And if the Browns were smart, they'd realize that. They'd realize that they need to develop Coleman. If they think RG3 is the quarterback, they need to develop the chemistry between those two and not waste their time with Josh Gordon. They should trade Josh Gordon, if we're going to be completely honest, and just start rebuilding now because their team isn't winning anything this year. There's no chance that the Browns make the playoffs and all of a sudden go on this miracle run. There just isn't. So why would they waste their time dealing with Josh Gordon when there's no use for it? They need to develop the young guys like Corey Coleman and see what they have with them. Because they have a monster. I mean, you look at the measurables, he is an absolute monster. So they need to develop him. So that's my spiel about Corey Coleman. Next on the list is DeAndre Washington. And I was a huge advocate for Latavius Murray last year. I drafted him, I want to say I drafted him like the 5th round and then Doug Martin in the 6th round. So I was really high on those guys this year, and I'm really low on them. I was really high on them last year, low on them this year. Because Latavius Murray was completely a product of volume last year. He had a negative 17.7 production premium last year. And he played all 16 games, which is something that you can't really expect from him. He has had concussion issues. But he had 266 carries and barely got 1,000 yards. He had 4.2 yards per touch, not per carry, per touch, which was 68th in the league. So that's not that great. He got 0.64 fantasy points per opportunity, which is 66th in the league. And that just means the total fantasy points divided by his carries and his target. So every opportunity he had to get a fantasy point, he only got 0.6. I just don't think that the Raiders want Latavius to be the guy. I think we need to watch in the preseason, but I think if DeAndre Washington does good in this preseason, I think it could be a 60-40 split with Washington playing passing downs. Because remember, Latavius is not going to be a third down back. DeAndre Washington is. So he's a really good upside play and a guy that you can get at, basically the end of the draft. He's going right now 144th overall, 51st wide receiver. I have him 41st. That's great value because it doesn't even matter if he doesn't take the job. Even if he's only that scat back, you're getting a few points each game. You're going to get like 4 to 6 or 7 points each week from your, 13th round pick? That's just great value. But the number one spot is going to a guy that I think is criminally undervalued this year, and that's Philip Dorset. Everyone wants to be high on Dante Moncrief, but Dorset is now going as wide receiver 58, 139th overall. I am his wide receiver 42. He has a 99th percentile 40 time, 4.33 40, an 89th percentile agility score. He's best comparable to Brandon Cooks. He is that small, fast receiver. You know that the quarterback play for the Colts is going to improve. Andrew Luck, even if he has a bad year, is not Matt Hasselbeck. I don't care what your belief is on Andrew Luck. Some people like him. Some people don't think he's that great. He's better than Matt Hasselbeck. Okay, the quarterback play is going to improve, and the reports out of camp are basically that Hilton's the clear number one. No one's going to challenge him as the number one option. So that does move Hilton up my board a little bit because I was a little concerned about that. But Hilton is going to be the number one. But Dorset and Moncrief are very close. And if he can push for the number 2 spot that you're getting as wide receiver 58, I don't see how you beat that value. And even if he doesn't, even if he stays as the number 3, Fleener's gone. So they're not going to be running two tight end sets anymore. They're going to be running 3 wide. So if he can be on the field with Luck as his quarterback, getting the 3rd corner, and he's just as good as Moncrief. I mean, remember, he was a first-round pick last year. This is his 2nd season. He was selected 29th overall. Moncrief was 3rd-round pick. And oftentimes when a wide receiver is taken high in the draft, the team wants them to succeed so that it looks better for them. So let's say that the roles were flipped and Dorset was the 3rd-round pick and Moncrief was the 1st-round pick. They probably want Moncrief to win that number 2 spot so that they look better. So that they look like, oh, look, we drafted a solid guy in that number 1 pick. But Dorset was a 1st-round pick, so they believe in him and they want him to succeed, so it makes them look better. So they're not just going to sit him on the bench. I mean, a 1st-round pick is very hard to come by. They have a lot of value. So they're going to, if he is actually challenging Moncrief for that number 2 spot, it means something. They're going to play him if he's that good. And if you watch the tape, he does look good. He looks like a good, fast receiver on a prolific offense. So that's the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I believe as of making this video, I'm not. But as this video goes out on Friday, I'm recording this on Thursday, I may be at 1,000 subscribers, and I want to thank you guys for that. Never thought that I would actually make it this far. My goal for the summer was to hit like 250, and you guys blew that out of the waters. Right now, I think I'm at 980, but it's possible that when this video goes up, I will be at 1,000. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, and thanks for watching.